Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit Sports Talk. And today we're going to give you our top 5 wide receivers. And this is week 12 of the NFL season going into week 13. So you know where we're at when you're watching this. But we're going to give you our top 5 wide receivers. And my top 5 are going as in who I think is just balling out right now. I want on my team to play.
Yeah, mine's who I want on my team to play 100% as well. A few surprising omissions, a few surprising inclusions from my side, I think.
Yeah, and I think for me, what made it a little bit easier is that injuries kind of knocked a few guys out of the top 5 that you normally would be in there, and especially if you're talking of overall receivers in the NFL. But since we're not talking like career overall, it actually knocked a few guys out and made it a little easier for me.
I've got a guy whose injury is so small that he'll be back in a couple of weeks, and I'd want him in my team for when he's not injured.
Well, I got a guy on my list that just got injured yesterday. So, you know, my number 5 is Tyree Kill. I'm just going Tyree Kill, speed off the bat. He's a monster. The guy runs great routes, and even when he's double covered, he gets open.
Not having the best season this year, but Tyree Kill, definitely.
And he's still in the top 5, which is really,
just the
top 6. Crazy stat.
Some sort of crazy spark he brings to every single team. My top 5, my number 5, Jay, I think you're going to be very happy with is Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is absolutely balling out. I thought you might have him higher, but just when you hear my omissions, you're going to be very happy with Justin Jefferson's rank. Justin Jefferson, an absolute baller, young kid who's an all-round receiver and can go up against any cornerback you feel in the NFL.
No, I'm not going to argue. Anytime anybody's in the top 5, even though I was being a smart ass, you can't argue
with wide receivers, it's difficult. Like there's like levels to this shit. There's 25 top 5 wide receivers.
And doesn't every team carry 5 or 6 receivers too? So there's so many receivers in the league. And, well, I don't know. The next guy I have on my list was this is the one who shocked me when I started to go through it. He wasn't even in my head, right? And then when I hit him, I'm like, how did I forget this dude? Deebo Samuel's number 4 wide receiver in the league, all-around weapon. He is a freaking monster.
Top weapon, Deebo Samuel's on my honorable mentions, not in my top 5, okay. I don't think. I know the 49ers are managing to do it just because of the way their system works, but I don't think Deebo Samuel's could be your number 1 wide receiver and he be your only guy. Like I'm looking at this dude, the guys that I've picked, they can be your only guy and you'll still be top. But Deebo Samuel's with the 49ers is proving different to that because he kind of is their only guy with George Kittle as well. On my honorable mentions though, which I'll go through at the end if we don't go over anymore, Tyree Kill is my number 4. Tyree Kill, absolute wheels, changed the NFL. Now everybody is looking for a wide receiver like Tyree Kill.
Yeah, Tyree Kill is a monster, and he stretches the defense. When they stretch the defense, that guy stretches the defense, and if you don't double cover him, you're in trouble. So you're always doing a 2-on-1. Well, who you got at number 3, Maddie?
Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is my number 3. Cooper Kupp is a different breed of wide receiver, I think, because he's not the same as the other guys. He doesn't pop off your screen with crazy athleticism or anything like that, but he just puts up massive numbers every single week. He's a fantasy. I've been trying to trade with him on fantasy football for weeks and weeks and weeks, but the one guy that has him is dropping out of the league and isn't focusing on the league at all, so he doesn't see all of my trade deals, which is really upsetting. But anyway, guy's an absolute monster and is just a beauty of a guy to have on your team because you know he's going to be in the right position and making the right calls.
Well, my number 3 receiver is JJ. I got Justin Jefferson, number 3. Okay, so rookie year, breaks all of Julio Jones records. This year, he breaks Randy Moss's record for most 100-yard games in 2 seasons, and we still have all these games left. And he's on the heels of breaking Odell Beckham's record as the most 100-yard games in your first 2 seasons. I think JJ's a baller. I mean, you said what you said at, having him at number 5. I don't know if I got to keep beating the drum, because all you got to do is watch Justin play and everybody knows the kid can play.
Kids are studs. Just maybe perhaps do it for a couple more years and you rise up the list. It's why somebody like Jamar Chase is in like the honorable mentions and things like that. But you can't ask for more of Justin Jefferson at this point. He's playing ridiculously well. Who's your number 2?
Cooper Kupp.
Oh, all the way up there. I was surprised by that.
I actually first had him number 1, but then I changed my mind last night. But Cooper Kupp is my number 2 receiver.
I thought you might not have Cooper Kupp in there. I thought I might have seeded in someone who, oh my God, I didn't even think of that. Because nobody thinks of him when they think best wide receivers. It's only when you kind of sat down going through. So how I did it was I went through every team's top 2 wide receivers pretty much and just went down, and I was like, these guys can't beat out Cooper Kupp a lot of the time. It does mean you have one of the massive 2 names that I have up here missing from your team, and I imagine one of them is because of injury, but I've got number 2, Devonte Adams. Devonte Adams at number 2 for me. I wasn't sure about him going into this season, to be perfectly honest. I thought he was a bit overrated, but having watched him a lot more this season, and the fact he is the Green Bay Packers' number 1 wide receiver, and the amount of numbers he's able to put up when he's double coveraged every single game, Devon Adams has got to be up there in a top 5.
Well, you won't get any arguments from me because he's my number 1 receiver in the NFL.
Your number 1 receiver in the NFL, which definitely makes sense having him at number 1 until you take in DeAndre Hopkins at number 1 in the
even
wide
healthy. I think
rankings.
He's better than D Hopkins now.
Yeah,
but that's not to shit on him. Like if somebody told me Hopkins is better, I wouldn't argue. I'm just saying personally, Adams. But I like Hopkins. He's just been injured so much this year. I left him off the list, but you called that already when you said
yeah,
that.
I knew exactly the reason why you'd left him off the list. I knew it wasn't like how I made the mistake last week of leaving the Rams out of my power 10 rankings. I knew it was because
to be
of
fair
injury,
to you, Maddie, though, you got to come straight from teaching to come to do some podcasts late at night. I don't think people know what you go through. But I don't think people know what you have to go through to get this done with me because of the time difference, and you're teaching to get a degree. Yeah.
But DeAndre Hopkins, number 1 wide receiver. For me, the most talented in every facet of wide receiving. I think he stretches a game a bit more than Devonte Adams, and just some of the plays the dude comes up with is just outstanding.
I didn't know who you were going to say. I was kind of caught off guard because dude, this is not a shot because the Cowboys have monster receiving core, but I'm like, you can't put CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper up there this year right now. But even though in a lot of years they might be top 5. So I was lost. I couldn't figure out who you had on your list that I didn't. Which
is why I thought you would be more appreciative of Justin Jefferson being my 5th pick. Here's my honorable mentions. I've got Amari Cooper in an honorable mention, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Deebo Samuels, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. There's so many that you kind of have to go through before coming into this top 5.
All right, so I'm going to put my pettiness on display. I had Stephon Diggs and Hill for number 5. I did not know where to go. Easy choice for me because I'm petty. I was like, oh, I got a chance to take a shot at Stephon Diggs. Great. Let me do that.
I think Tyree Kill changed the game. I genuinely think the way that those 49ers came out has changed the game. You can see the Raiders have tried to emulate it by quick guy over the top, tight end in Devon Waller. Everybody wants that really quick guy to stretch the game. And I know it's your pettiness, but
truth though, I think Tyreek's probably playing a little better this year. But if you asked me, which one do I want on my team for the duration? I'm going with Stephon Diggs. Because if you tell me the diva shit's not going to happen, one, because his character shit was some I'm pissed about football shit. Yeah. Tyreek Tyree Kill had some off the field shit that I'm not okay with. And I feel like Stephon Diggs is more of a dog when it comes to, I'm going to get in there, I'll take the hit, I'll move the chains, that kind of thing. But I'm petty because I don't like the way that he left the Vikings.
There are so many studs that are missing out on this list as well. Odell Beckham, obviously not playing his best football, but one of the greatest wide receivers to play, made the greatest catch possibly in the history of the NFL. Jarvis Landry missing out because of his injuries as well.
Michael Pittman's balling, but I wouldn't call him a top 5, but he's balling,
Yeah, Keenan Allen in LA, Mike Williams in LA.
So does he have a fountain of youth, Keenan Allen? Because that dude's like 112 and still balling.
Yeah, he's like the Larry Fitzgerald of the LA Chargers. He's incredible. There's some Julio Jones is still playing football. AJ Brown at the Tennessee Titans. He's an incredible football player. There are so many guys that are missing out here. And just to be the top 5. It's like when we choose our top 10 quarterbacks, we seem to get asked to do top 10 quarterbacks all the time. There's 15 to 18 top 10 quarterbacks. Well, there's 25 top 5 wide receivers. So what are we meant to do?
Well, good luck, Matty, because next week we're doing tight ends, and I'm not sure where I go past 3 right now. So
I can only think of 5 tight ends, so I think we're good.
Well, I am curious to see who you have number 1, because I already know who my number 1 is. We won't put that out there yet. But that's the one thing I am convinced I know the answer to is who's my number 1.
Yeah, me too. I think
so.
It's between 2 guys. It's between 2, and I can argue for them both.
I could have 2, but I decided on one of them, but we'll get to that next week.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching, Maddie. I have a lot of fun doing these top 5s because I think that we don't see most things eye to eye, but we're always close. So it's always
top
fun
5s,
to see.
Yeah. If any of you guys have any ideas for any content you want to see us do, any weird games, any segments or anything like that you want to see us do, if you have any questions or anything like that, then we'll make these quick 10-minute videos, 15-minute videos answering your questions.
Well, I got a quick question before we get out of here, Maddie. What do you think is going to happen? Just first news that we heard today, and we're just jumping off the cuff overreaction. Cliff Kingsbury out of there after this year to go to Oklahoma?
I don't think so. I think he's got a chance to do something special in the NFL, and that precedes money.
I don't disagree with you. For me, that would be the case because besides T-shirts and shoes, I am not a materialistic person. But there's something about going from $5.5 million to $12 million. It's really hard to turn down. So I was just curious your thoughts on it because we're going to hear more and more about that. And we're going to have to see if that becomes a distraction. Because if Kingsbury does not come out and say, not happening, I ain't going, he's going to be asked about it for the next however many weeks through the playoffs.
I think there's some fantastic coaches out there as well that they may be looking for. And
Kellen Moore.
The Chicago Bears job looks like his fucking death, honestly. Just give him the Cowboys job. Get rid of Mike McCarthy. Send Mike McCarthy to fucking USC.
To Chicago. To Chicago. Send McCarthy to Chicago. Because I don't want a good coach in Chicago.
Just get rid of the fucking guy and keep Kellen Mond. Or make him the highest paid offensive coordinator. Make your offensive coordinator higher paid than your head coach. I fucking dare you, Jerry Jones.
You better hope the Vikings don't fire Zimmer because they are going with an offensive coach if they fire Zimmer.
If Kellen Mond went to the Vikings, it would be fucking game over.
And think about it. If
Kellen Moore, you've got me saying it now.
Well, no, but if you're an offensive coach and there's a coaching vacancy in Minnesota, there's not that better of a job because the offense is fucking stacked.
Yeah, fuck it. If Kellen Moore ends up with that offense, it's game over.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.